Welcome to How to RC, foam, paint, and airbrush. There seems to be some confusion when I talk about a full sheet of Depron. This is a full sheet of Depron. This sheet measures 39 and a bit by 27 and a half. 39 and a half by 27 and a half. This is a full sheet. What you get at your average hobby store is a piece 13, if you're lucky, 13 by 39, which is like that big. It's less than half the size. Nobody will get in trouble for this. If you go to RC Foam's website, it appears that the only way you can get 6mm Depron in sheets this size is to buy a full case. Not the case. Pardon the pun. I called the guy up and I said, hey, you mean that if I want this size sheet, 27 and a half by 39 and a half, that I can't get it unless I buy a whole case? And he goes, no. I'll sell you as many as you want for $6.50 a sheet. Well, if you're paying $4.50 for this, then $6.50 for this seems like a heck of a deal. To me, anyway. And I bought 10 sheets, and I bought some carbon fiber, and the shipping from Georgia to Connecticut was $10. So if you put all the shipping charge on the foam, I paid $7.50 for this sheet. Still a deal. If you're paying $4.50, that'd be $9, and you wouldn't have as much foam. The other advantage is, of course, that if you want to build a Polaris, you don't have to splice the foam. You can get almost a whole Polaris out of this sheet of foam. I think the only thing you can't get is one of the fuselage sides. This is one of my homemade fiberglass boats, and it's been painted with the Createx Auto Air colors and then clear coated with an automotive clear coat finish. This over here is another one of mine in a different sort of paint scheme, a Viking 1. 3 feet long, brushless motor, electric, does 50 miles an hour on 6S. Let's have a lesson in paint. I can only tell you about the stuff I've got. This is Fast Color from Parma. It's a water-based paint, doesn't need the foam. Or brush or airbrush. Pretty much anybody can go out and buy a paintbrush and paint something, but sometimes it's a whole lot of work, and I prefer an airbrush. This is Createx airbrush paint. You can buy this at any craft store. Comes in a myriad array of colors. They're all intermixable. You can thin it with water, especially for the airbrush if you need to. You can also thin it with Windex. It makes it dry a little faster. Windex, you know, evaporates pretty good off of the glass when you get done with it. And cleanup pretty much can be done with Fantastic, including your hands, tabletop, and the airbrush to some extent. This other stuff is Createx Airbrush colors. Okay, this Createx is available at hobby and craft stores, art supply stores. Great stuff. This happens to be fluorescent orange. Same thing, thins with water or Windex, cleans up with soap and water basically. Won't hurt your Depron. Good coverage with the paint. Great stuff. This is Auto Air Color. This is also by Createx. This is an automotive paint. The boat I showed you earlier was painted with this type of paint and then clear coated with a clear enamel, a clear automotive paint. This is, I think, $4.95 for 4 ounces. This stuff is about the same. Nobody puts prices on anything anymore. This is $2.95 for 2 ounces. That price is years old. And I think the fast color was about the same. This is an airbrush. It has a nozzle. It has a button. It has an air hose. It has an adjustment needle back here. You move the needle in and out and it allows more or less paint to come up into the air gun. This is a single stage. Try it this way. You press the button, you get air and paint. This is a 2-stage. This one, when you press the button you get air. But you can vary the amount of paint without fiddling around with the adjustment needles in the back. You push it down and then pull it back, and the further you pull it back, the more paint you get. So you can draw a very fine line with it. If you're artistically inclined, this is a great way to paint. It's a lot of fun. But for painting planes and boats, I like this old Badger. They're both Badgers. This gun here is probably 30 years old. A couple of months ago, I painted that yellow, orange, and red boat with it, and I picked it up the next week, and it wouldn't work. Couldn't get any air out of it. Didn't need to be cleaned. I don't know what was wrong with it. Well, something wrong with the needle valve anyway. So I was moaning to a friend of mine about it, and he said, send it back. So I did. I went to the Badger website, got the proper address to send it back to, wrote a little letter saying I'd had it for 30 years and would like to keep it. And in about 4 weeks I got it back. And as far as I can determine, the only thing I got back of my gun is this barrel here. This main section and the button. Everything else is new. The needles, the adjusters, the back, the tip, everything. Cost? Free.